Welcome back to the She Might podcast, your go-to destination for all things unexpected motherhood. I'm your host, Erin Galloway, CEO of She Might, and today we have our founder, Andrea Friedman, back on the podcast, OG podcast, host of the She Might podcast. We're so glad to have you.
I'm glad to be back.
The last time we talked on this podcast, we chatted about rebuilding trust after a difficult birth.
Yes.
So in that episode, you shared that you were pregnant with twins. So fast forward to today, tell me 3 words that describe motherhood for you right now.
Well, I'll just say I do feel less full, and that's a good feeling because being pregnant with twins is no joke. So if you are out there and you are pregnant or pregnant with multiples, just existing takes courage and strength and power. So yay you. 3 words for motherhood right now. I would say opportunistic, growth-minded, and joyful. So opportunistic because my life is really, it's hard to tell how the day's going to go. I can plan. I'm still a planner, but I still don't have a ton of control over all the little bodies that I'm taking care of. And so I have to be just opportunistic and maximize what is available to me. So an example of that thinking would be getting out with all 4 kids is really, really challenging right now, and not to mention a little bit unsafe. I have a 1.5-year-old who is a runner, and then I have 2 twins who are 4 months old, and then I have a 4-year-old who sometimes is a 4-year-old. But I only have 2 arms, 2 hands, and so they're frankly just going to the park, crossing the street to go to Target is actually like pretty dangerous. Sometimes I feel like I'm like in battle or something. Like my heart rate is that high. Seriously.
Like
so for a while I was feeling really trapped and just like my freedom was just like not there anymore, which you know me, I like to be able to just go out. I just got coffee. You kept the baby so I could go and get myself a coffee and come back. And that's a good feeling. In this season though, that's just not what I have. So I have been opportunistic by really making my backyard or my home a really fun place so we can welcome our village to us. And so we have a trampoline and we have a splash pad and a slip inside. And so basically my house is where it's at.
It's true. We just had a play date. Was that 2 weeks ago?
I think it was very recent.
And the moment my son saw the trampoline, it was like, see ya. And they had so much fun. And it really is a space for, like, there's a lot of freedom, and I love that. I think that's what I've noticed about you in this season. Now that you have, like, 4 kids, I have 2, and our oldest 2 are very in line with age. And I think you just let go of a lot of things, and you're just very chill when it comes to, like, oh, yeah, they're out there. They can get on and off. I'm like, oh, you're right. You're right. They can. So I think that's really awesome. And I think I've seen with opportunistic, but also, like, being adaptable and
yes, that's another good word for it. I couldn't figure out I like adaptable a little bit better. And then growth-minded. When you make a mistake in young motherhood, like it feels like everything falls apart pretty fast. So and so I say to myself a lot, you don't know what you don't know. And I was 45 minutes late to our podcast interview today, but I've actually never loaded up my twins to make a drive downtown to park to get them here. And so even just now I was saying to myself, you don't know what you don't know. So it was a first time. I'm going to grow. I'm going to do things differently next time. And then lastly, joyful. I would say that I'm having a lot of fun and I am embracing my silly side with my kids, and they love it when mama is silly. I mean, these kids meme when I get on the trampoline, and I'll tell you what, my pelvic floor. I mean, it's like amazing. Anyway, so opportunistic, growth-minded, and joyful.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the joyful one is good because we were texting about that recently. Where I think I said, like, I always feel like I'm the bad guy. And I'm, like, tired of just always being the bad guy. And so it's, like, trying to lighten up a little bit and let kids be kids while having structure to help them grow and learn. It's like, we've never done this before. I think I have to remind myself that, too, of, like, going through different seasons of motherhood. My son's almost 5, and now we're transitioning to kinder prep. And that's a whole new thing. And so I think I need to adjust expectations of what that transition is going to look like.
Wow.
And my daughter completely runs our house, and not in a good way. And so she's
strong.
Yeah, very strong-willed. I don't know where she gets it.
I only saw her for 90 glorious minutes, but I was like, Erin.
She was acting
Strength.
like she owned Andrea's house. So it's just a different season. So I think I'm trying to enjoy.
She wanted
this.
snacks.
Oh, yeah. My daughter wants, if I can't have her
Snacks.
snacks,
Yes.
she's not going to be happy with me. But yeah, so I think enjoying that time, because people always say that, like, it goes by fast. And that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of balancing, like, what does that look like to enjoy those moments? Be silly. I remind myself that a lot, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything doesn't have to be serious all the time.
Good.
Especially with toddlers. So
A friend of mine taught me, my son isn't the best listener, but I watched her. It was so funny. She like came up to her son and was like, "Are these working?" And she like grabbed his ears and was like, "Do you feel anything? Are these working?" And he started laughing. And she's like, "Well, why don't we use those?"
that's great.
And
love that.
he, it was like night and day. He just started listening, noticing other people. And I was like, I have this idea that I need to be like,
Yes.
listening is really important, because one day when your friend is going through trauma and they're trying to share their heart, you need to be able to actually listen, because anyways,
Yeah,
it
I
can
know.
get
We
very serious very
over-explain to
fast.
toddlers, so
Yes.
I love that. That's very developmentally appropriate.
Isn't that
for
pretty?
toddlers.
Yeah.
But it's hard as moms to remember those things. It's like we have to take that deep breath and then get there.
So true.
Okay, so you have 4 children, 4 and under.
Mm-hmm.
What are you learning right now?
Okay, so this is probably obvious to the listener, but I don't know. I feel like in life, I learn in layers, and I come back to the same themes over and over again. Like, we're going to have to talk about self-care at some point in this, because this is a layer for me. I'm just adding on.
You opened it up, so I will bring it up.
Erin's been working on me with self-care for years. I have learned in this season that my mood has so much power over my household, my children, the other friends that we get to spend time with, my husband, and the strategies to change my mood when it is off. I've had to find really different ones. So before, when I was a working mom, and even when I had 2 kids, I could change my environment. That was a big way that I changed my mood. So if I was just feeling like, I'd be like, all right, we're going to go to the park, or we are going to go on a walk, or we are going to go to Target. I love Target, still love Target. It's just not friendly to me at the moment. And so I used environment to change my mood. I also used self-care. Less and less as I've added more children, because self-care has become just less practical for me. It's more on the go. I used to use journaling. Now I kind of let go of it for a while, and now I'm bringing it back. I just have to carve out an hour every week, but I found that 1 hour goes a long way to changing my perspective and helping me see where I'm growing. I used to call a friend and like vent to her on the way home from work for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That's not possible for me right now. So I do a lot of voice messages, a quick text. I do a lot of Marco Polo. I know I sound really millennial right now, but I love Marco Polo because it's just really quick. It's really flexible on both ends of the call. And for a while, because I was so busy, I kind of let go of that part of resetting my mood by calling a friend or reaching out for connection and support. But I've learned I need to prioritize and make that time happen, because we've said this before, joy is doubled when shared, and pain is halved when shared. And when you are in motherhood, I think this is the case across the board for everyone, but definitely now that I have 4 kids, sometimes I feel really invisible. It feels like my victories are not visible, and it feels like my pain is not visible. So if I pause to tell my friend in Mississippi that I had this win, it means something. I can remember it, I can mark it, and it can lift me, versus that win happening and it just being forgotten. So yeah, those are some ways. But the last way that I learned literally this week, I feel like I'm learning it right now, is joining what my kids are doing. So if I'm getting grumpy, I'm like getting mad, overstimulated, if I just stop and join my kid playing Magnetiles, if I stop and read the book that my daughter is flipping the pages through, if I just stop and hold the crying baby and do the contact nap, my mood inevitably lifts. So anyways, those are some things. I will caution against I tried for a while changing my environment by cleaning. I would argue that that does not help mood. I've made that mistake, 100 times, and I'm just now realizing not to do that. But yes, so it's just you use different things. But I kid you not, if you can have a light and joyful mood like your kids, it's amazing the power that it has over those around you. So, yeah.
Oh, a lot of that is just so true. I think even changing your environment. I think, we live in Arizona. Mm-hmm. It's hot in the summer. It's already hot, and it's only June. And I found myself, like days that I'm, even just the weekends or whenever we feel cooped up, it's just always going to be a worse day, especially between like 3 and 5, 3 and 6.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, how do we actually do something to make this a better day if you feel like cooped up? And I think a lot of people feel that way. And I
can't change my environment.
Yeah, I can't do the math to figure out how you take 4 kids to Target.
Well, it's because they all can't buckle.
Yes.
So I know people who have 4 kids.
Yeah.
But their oldest is like 8. Mm-hmm. And then they have a baby. So like there's a lot of developmental.
And babies.
Yes. So some of them can buckle themselves. Some of them can't. But I have to do I've got to load everyone up. I've got to help everyone with their shoes.
Yeah, and it's hot.
And it's
so
it's just tough.
By the time you get in your car and you're like
3 out of 4 are in diapers and you just change them and then of course they give you a little present. So yeah. And I've discovered the stop to play and get involved. That happened to me last night. My daughter was losing it. I don't even remember why she was losing it. But I stopped and I just started to play more than being frustrated with her because she was trying to get out of her room and I was trying to do something with her. I think we were putting PJs on. And then she started laughing. And then I started laughing. And then I was like, okay, now it's not bedtime's a nightmare because you've been screaming. Good.
So that is so true. And I've realized that lately.
Wow.
Okay, what actually has to get done? And how can I pause and actually play with them? And because I think there are moments where you realize if your kid asks you to play and you're like, oh, when did I last sit down with them and do that? And so then you get into the mom guilt. And you're like, nope, life happens. And we can be intentional about our time, but it does, I think, lift the mood because it helps you to pause and kind of see some of those joyful moments too. And taking time to talk to friends. Wow. I always said, I'll never be a person that voice memos anyone. I would intentionally text
I've been
back
kind of shocked.
Memos. I would text back, and then they would reply again in a voice memo, and I would
noticed
text back
that.
again.
I noticed that.
So now, and we can mostly credit, I would say, the people I work with, Morgan especially, because she would voice memo me all the time, and I'd reply. But it's so nice to be able to drive home or be driving somewhere and not have to text, call someone. I just voice memo. Or last week, someone texted me or 3 people texted me and I didn't get back to them till yesterday because I finally had a moment to be like, oh, hey, sorry, it took me forever. But now I'm voice memoing you back. So Marco Polo too, I think is great. But if it's a separate app, I'm not going to get to it.
and it's the rambling. I feel like in text you get this weird abbreviated version of someone. But with a voice message, it feels like they're giving me themselves. I'm still getting to hear their intonation and their pauses and their chuckles and so it just feels, it's crazy, but I am thankful for that piece of technology, even though it's 10 years old, but still thankful for that.
So life has changed. You went from being a working mom to still working, just in a different way. So that was what? You made that transition was that last year? No.
It'll be ago. 2 years in September.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what has been unexpected about that transition?
Well, you asked me if I would come on the podcast, and I was like, I have so many opinions. Do you remember when I told you that?
I do remember that. And I was like, okay.
When at least in my job, and I think this is true of most people's jobs, you're paid to have an opinion. You're paid to look at something, assess something, tell people what you think about it. And I did that all day long. And nobody wants to know my opinion, Erin.
I've told you I do.
Well, I appreciate that. But, nobody actually wants that, So I have learned to kind of read that better and then just share, when somebody's, feeling it or in the mood. So, yeah, I would say that's been that was one of the main things I noticed immediately. It felt like I was constantly swallowing my thoughts and opinions because there was so much bubbling up, and I was used to just sharing like 80% of that. And it has now become more like 20% because I'm learning to read that that's really the amount of times that it's applicable and helpful to hear what I think about and notice. But you better believe it's a gift. You better believe. I'm just kidding. It is, but it is kind of, but it is, but it's not. But I would say that was a huge thing I noticed, and the intellectual drop off. So my job was really intellectual. I spent a lot of time looking at data and solving things, and having small children, like, you have to be creative. You have to be like social emotional. You have to be, what are all the different kinds of intelligence? Spatial intelligence, physical intelligence, like all the other ones are used pretty abundantly, but intellectual's not. So I could feel myself kind of like dying mentally. And so I joined like 3 book clubs, and I took a class from a college, and I've just done different things to keep using that part of myself because I love it. But that was a huge thing that I noticed. But then I feel like with this season, going from 2 kids to 4 kids, it's been a slow transition of moving from helper to helpee. But I would say that this past season, like the first 3 months after having twins, was like the starkest experience I've ever had of being a helpee. I don't think that's a word, but that's what I call it, the recipient in that transaction. And I feel like I've spent a lot of time reflecting on what that's like. And I still 100%, there's so many like phrases we coined here. Like takes courage to ask for help, always ask for help. And I 100% stand by that. But now I feel like I have a certain insight into what that means and what it feels like that I did not have before, and the kinds of hurdles that you have to deal with in yourself to be able to be a good helpee.
That's true. You know, I'm a helper.
I know. And I was.
I'm the worst to try
I was
to
a helper.
Help. I am the most help-resistant person.
I have answers. I have answers for you.
So 2 years ago, you made that transition. If you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice, what would you say to yourself?
If you are if you're considering becoming a stay-at-home mom, there's this really remarkable irony about it. It is, I can't think of a more selfless, self-spending, self-sacrificial career that a person could have. And I also can't think of only 30% of women with children 18 and under in the US are stay-at-home moms.
Oh, interesting.
It's like a privilege. Yeah. So it is the weirdest thing to feel like you are pouring out, quote unquote, for no pay, like for no like physical, concrete income benefit, while also knowing that you are also among the elite of privileged. So I don't know even what to do with that, but there's this interesting like guilt / gratitude / so it's a really interesting tension that I carry on a lot of days. There are a lot of things that I was afraid would happen and would be hard about being a stay-at-home mom, and all of them are true.
Can you give us a couple?
Oh boy. I was afraid of being invisible. That's true. I am invisible. I was afraid of losing social capital. Like, you know, you spend so much time in your career, like building up this like image and these relationships and these connections, and discovering like the identity that you want to put out in the world. And overnight, it's gone, all of it. And it's like, that's hard. And I know that when I re-enter the workforce at whatever time that happens, I will feel like I'm starting from the beginning. And so if you're afraid, I think that fear is founded on wisdom. You do understand that that's one of the trade-offs of making that choice. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have very specific gains for why I'm doing it. But yeah, another thing is I thought people would look down on me or think less of my capacity or intelligence, and that is 100% true. When I tell people I'm a stay-at-home mom, they make a lot of judgments. And so that's hard. It's hard to deal with that frequently. But all of those things that I've just said, they have a lot to do with like what other people think. And I think we all know that those kinds of reasons are garbage. So I feel like the things that I was afraid of, they're all like needless weight that's being kind of cut off of me, you know? Hopefully the real weight. Anyways, postpartum, we're going to get to that when the time comes. But yeah, I do feel like that's kind of being deconstructed from me. So if you're afraid of things like that, I would say for that, like if I was talking to myself, if you're afraid of losing these things, well, you will, but you'll be really glad you did.
Yeah. I think there's so much like overlap too, of like how you, some of your perceptions of like, oh yeah, you feel judged. I see people feel that way all the time as a stay-at-home mom, but I also often feel that way as a working mom.
Talk to me.
I think people judge you no matter what kind of mom you are. That is what we hear in our community. I think people judge you for not staying at home with your kids. People judge you for staying at home with your kids. Dads, there's not judgment there. Like, you're working, that's great.
They face different burdens.
I agree.
But we do have that one unique to us as moms.
It's very unique to just the mom journey of like, there's judgment either way. There's judgment for putting your kids in care. There's judgments for staying at home and not having two incomes. I think there's just that general judgment for moms.
Can we lean into that a little bit?
Yeah.
I feel like the judgment, because you'll say to yourself, I just need to let this go. Like, I just need to not to care. Like, don't care. Like, don't care. Like, don't care, which we've all been hearing since we were 9. Yeah. But I have not been able to apply this until I've noticed if I am just worked up about something that somebody said at the park. And it's like suddenly I realize it's not a them problem, it's a me problem. What am I believing something about what they said? Am I letting some narrative that's actually like just not true or not serving me? Like, am I believing that? And that's why it's like getting to me. And then I have to kind of dig it out. I have to be like, okay, what am I? So if somebody looks at me and they talk to me like I'm dumb and I'm like mad about it, right, for days. Why is that? Wait, do I think I'm dumb? Like, what am I believing, right? Oh yeah, I'm believing that because I'm not using the intellectual side of myself in this season, that I am dumb. Oh, wait. Is that what I want to believe? Well, I certainly don't want to believe that about my friend who is brilliant and a stay-at-home mom as well. So why would I believe that about me? So yeah, I'm basically peeling these. You get curious about the judgments that actually stick to you. Yes. And then you kind of go, wait, why is this sticking? And then once you figure out why and you replace that narrative,
you're challenging those
it comes off.
Thoughts.
It comes up. I am.
You just process that whole thing.
Are you proud of me?
I am really proud of you.
Thank you.
I think that's what we have to do as moms.
Yes.
I did something like that similar. I saw this video and it was just like on a topic that I took personally. Because I'm like, this is not why I made this decision. And I was just talking to Tiffany and Morgan about it. And I'm like, why is this bothering me so much? So, I think that for that one, I think there is a commonality for stay-at-home moms and working moms to like feel those judgments.
Thank you for saying that, because I think all the working moms are just badasses. I think you guys are so cool.
You're
I do,
too, though.
and
just
I
remember
am
that. And
I am, but I do have a really positive like admiration.
Yeah, I appreciate
for working moms. I do.
You came from a job where you're just thinking. Like, this is a job where you have to think and you have to talk to people and network and you're selling things, really. Like, that's what you're doing. And so to go from that to being a stay-at-home mom, I would think that would be really hard, because in those moments where I'm just trying to be not Erin who's working and mom, it's really hard for me to like do both of those things. So that's a hard transition. So All of those are very
And you
valid
know
with
me,
what you
like
want.
that's a big part of me.
Yeah.
Is like wonder and abstract
Yes.
thinking, and so that has felt like losing
Yes.
me a little bit. But what's cool is I'm finding that me really does apply in motherhood. So like, for example, if one of my kids finds a bug, you better believe I'm on all fours. We are looking at that bug. We are asking questions about that bug. We are amazed about the bug. And then we're telling everybody about this cool bug and when we learned about it. And that is so blessing my kids. And it's also blessing people around to like learn that sense of wonder and enjoyment and just learning from things around us.
Yeah, and that curiosity is very unique to you. Like that's not something that everybody has, and being willing to like dig into that. And that's something you had as CEO of She Might, and now as our founder, and you're as a mom. So I think that's so important. And when moms tell me they feel like invisible, that always like hurts me. But I get why you feel that way, and I get why a lot of moms feel that way because sometimes it is a thankless job when it comes to.
But you can make it visible.
Yes.
I'm learning that I need to take those steps to make it visible. So journaling makes what I'm learning visible to me because I can see it written down, or sharing with a friend makes it visible because I've dignified it by putting it out into the world and they're hearing it and receiving it. And so there are different things that I'm doing because I've met some moms who are like, that's part of it, being invisible. That's just what it is. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why would we want our pain and our joys to be invisible? Why is that like, I get the like not wanting to be like full of it or like really proud, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to pause and recognize what I'm learning.
And you're coming from a place where it's like metrics and goals and this. And so it's like, how do we make that work within our motherhood world and what that looks like? And so I think creativity and doing that really does make a difference for yourself and for kids. But we're all learning. We're all trying to figure out what that actually looks like. And I think, I don't know, all I hear from you as you're talking about this is the steps that you're taking to like figure out what's going to work for you in this season. And I think that'll be different in 3 months, and different in 6 months and 6 years and whatever life will look like then. But I think it's encouraging to hear kind of the processes that you've taken to kind of get yourself in that space you need to be.
So good.
So Andrea, back when you started She Might, you weren't a mom.
I know.
So tell me, thinking back to that season and starting this whole thing to support moms walking on an unexpected motherhood journey, what would you tell Andrea back then as she was founding this?
Well, I thought that it would mean that I couldn't do it, like because I didn't have that experience to work from. And it is true that once you add the experience, you add all these wonderful, rich layers and colors to all of it. And it's like, oh, like it's so good. But I think the reason why it was so good that I started this when I was not a mom is there were 2 things that I had to offer that I don't have to offer now as a mom. So of 4, maybe I could have, anyways, right now I really don't have it to offer. And one of them is I could be an observer. Moms do remarkable things all day long. And, but we don't see it. We don't realize it's remarkable. We don't realize, so I'll give you an example. I was talking to a friend of mine. Her son just had double hip surgery because he has hip dysplasia. Apparently it's the most painful surgery that a child can go through. So it's been really rough for their family. And she was telling me, that poop changes, like when she has to change his diaper, it takes 3 adults. Because there's one person who has to lift, the other person has to hand things, and then the other person has to like get under there and make sure the bandages don't get poopy, and we got to put layers under, and then we got to put the diaper on, and then we got to replace the blanket and all this stuff. And I was thinking to myself, if I had to do that 2 times a day, I wonder if my heart rate would be just as fast running from gunfire.
My heart rate is
probably
listening to you talk about that.
Probably. I mean, I really think that if it was like wartime and I had to jump from one mound to the other, my heart would probably be in a similar place. I would be similarly unregulated. But to be able to hear her say that, and most people are like, oh, she's just changing a poopy diaper, like, oh, whatever. I'm sitting there going,
Yeah,
you are amazing.
That's
You are incredible. And I think that is what I had to give as a non-mom, is I feel like I had these fresh eyes that could actually see just the extraordinary things that moms do every day. And then I also had the gift of time and flexibility. So there were like a lot of moms that were part of founding us and like our mission statement. And there's a lot of founding themes, materials, decisions that we needed to make. And because they were really busy, because they had children on the other line, I could talk in 20 minutes. I could wait 45 minutes. I could go to them. I could pick up lunch on the way over. I just had the ability to be flexible and to work according to what their needs were, and therefore be able to actually allow their voices and experiences to shape what She Might is today. But if I had been a mom of 4 trying to do that, I would not have been able to accommodate, and therefore we would not have heard and received.
That's the foundation.
Yes,
of the
exactly.
Work that we do. It's the people. I had the honor of meeting some of our founding people when we went to Austin, and I wasn't even around in 2020, but I've had conversations and connected with them, and just getting to pull that community together in person is just like such a special thing, of people that are still so connected. And we actually recently had someone who wrote articles for She Might like early on show up to one of our mom's play dates. And I was like, that is the community that we want to build. And like She Might wasn't always an in-person thing. And now it's becoming that. And so I think of you, and I think of all of the people who wrote those articles and did and even Nicole back then making all the graphics that were the original graphics of She Might.
So
and
good.
Building the Clarity Quiz, and then us coming together to build coaching, and all of the crazy things that have led us to be where we're at now. And it's fun to reflect on that. I think sometimes in the busyness of motherhood and the busyness of all the things that we're doing in our lives, like we miss some of that. And so taking the time to celebrate those things and just be excited for what She Might is, what has been built, what our lives look like, I think, as moms. I think it's fun to do.
And as you were talking, I'm like, I feel like I do have this ability to like see people. And I think about when I do receive that gift now in this season, which is a little bit more rare, but you did that for me. Not a lot of people do it for me. And thinking about how I was able to do that, there were probably 20 moms that were at the heart of She Might at the very beginning. And I felt like I was just looking at them and being like, wow, you did that?
Meant a lot.
Wow, that's amazing that you know, one mom was like, yeah, so I figured out, we just had a studio apartment, so I just like made a little nursery in the corner. And I was like, you are so cool. Yeah. You're so cool that you problem solved that. You figured that out. You thrifted all the parts. Now your little baby's got like a great little spot. So, and she was like surprised that, anyway, people were always surprised. And I was like, why are you surprised? You're like really cool. So yeah, I feel like that I'm using that gift internally a lot with my family, but I feel like that's a lot of why I started things. And now I'm applying it in different ways, but yeah. That's one of the great, and I feel like as moms, we like to be mommed. So I would like show up with coffee, or I would bring donuts, or I would like just take care, like do a little something to take care of her. And now that I'm like a mom, it's amazing. It is amazing when somebody does something for me. And I'm like, oh, it like lifts me for a week.
Yeah, well, and it gives a lot of perspective of like the things we are doing well, and like how much you love our like community and people that are around us and the moms around us that are doing such a good job. And so I think that's part of it too, is giving us perspective. And I hear a baby crying, so I think that's time.
That's probably the
to
cue.
Wrap up. I love that they're just naturally our alarms, right?
Well, that's what they are for me. So
yeah. Well, thanks so much. We're gonna do this regularly. Have Andrea come in, share some insights, and just it's a great opportunity, I think, for people to hear from you and hear your voice, because we've missed it and our community missed it. So just know you're welcome in at any time. So
what an honor.
Yeah, thanks.
It is an honor to speak to the listeners of this podcast. You all are incredible. Just pause, take a moment to think about the things that you've walked through, the things that you have kept getting up after it's been hard, or you've problem solved, or just, if you just pause and take a moment like you would for your own kid and notice their progress, do that for yourself just for like 20 seconds, and maybe consider calling a friend and telling them about one thing that you want to celebrate with them. Because anyways, I am just inspired, very inspired by the community of She Might. Really proud.
Thanks for coming, Andrea. Remember, you don't have to navigate motherhood alone. She Might is a community for women facing the unexpected. The discussions on this podcast are shaped by the experiences of those whose journey have led them to She Might, from coaching clients to grant recipients and those in our online and offline communities. Thanks for being part of our village. You can find the link to our site along with our social media and all resources mentioned in the show notes. That's all for now. Thanks for joining us on the She Might podcast, and we'll see you next time.